and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis, Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I'm fired up. We're going to make you some money today, and I'm pumped up because I'm excited to bring you our featured guest, Matt Manero. Matt, are you ready to be real?
Of course. Is there any other way?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So my man Matt is all about helping you make that money, but he is first the president of Commercial Fleet Financing, which does over $150 million in yearly financing for building your fleet. And very interesting business. I was checking it out right now. He's also a proud father and a husband, which I love. I love that you put that in your profile. Also, folks, what we're really going to get into is he's the author of The Grit and his newest book, You Need More Money, folks. So, Matt, we've pleasure to have you on the show today. We've given our listeners just a little insight, but what's going on today?
Dude, everything's good, man. I mean, every day is a day of purpose, right? I mean, hell, we don't just wake up and ride the current, do we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, today, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to a funeral.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Friend. So it's just part of life, man. You gotta, frame it how you can, and obviously, grieve and then move forward. Because,
well, dude, stay on that for a minute because I'm going through it with my best friend in the world. I just was in San Diego on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with him on his deathbed. So how close were you to this
Well,
person?
he was one of my original customers, and then I also ended up started working for his family, and then so we have both, working for his business and for his family's business, and then he's just one of those customers that was younger and was we kind of connected and bonded, and he was pushing the envelope on certain things and kind of a serial entrepreneur, and just unfortunate,
How'd he die? What happened?
Car accident. He had a car accident. Yeah, he was coming home from a golf tournament, and
oh man,
someone ran a stop sign, and everyone passed away. So it's very unfortunate.
Wow.
Obviously, like you said, life is just so blessed, and at the end of the day, you can't stay in misery, because it's going to happen. Like, we're all going to pass, as well as family, friends, and clients and customers. But most importantly is that we move forward, and then we also get people to making that money, my man. So I have a question to you, my man.
Go for it.
I'm really interested into this. So in 1995, you founded your business, Commercial Fleeting Financing. And what gave you that idea? Because I think it's such a unique line of business.
Yeah, I was in a version of this business working for another company. We weren't just on the finance side, though. We were more on the fleet management side, where we would literally factory order cargo vans for a landscaping company or a plumbing company, and then we would upfit them with shelves, and we would logo it out, and we would deliver it to their facility full serve, ready to go, and then we would do the financing on it. Gosh. That's how I learned the business. That's how I was transferred to Dallas, Texas with that company, and then within literally a month or so, everything that we had talked about changed, the budget, the growth plans, and I was basically left for dead in a dumpy one-bedroom apartment here in Dallas. I didn't have a friend of a friend, Travis. I literally knew nobody. I had no contacts, I had zero introductions. It was supposed to be a one-year gig, and 23 years later, we're doing a different version of that same business, but now we do just provide the financing. We don't do any factory ordering or delivering of the equipment. We just act as the bank.
Got you. And I saw in your profile, and also an article saying you knew you could out hustle the big banks because that's basically who your competition is.
Yeah, and man, it's a key thing for your audience, my friend, is that how do you know whether you're in the right business, or I call it the platform, and you're in that business when the big banks are in that business. You gotta figure out who are you competing against? And I knew very early that if I was going to compete against large publicly traded companies, that there were going to be a lot of scraps on the table that they didn't care about. And we've been able to take $1 billion of those scraps off their table, and about $170 million a year worth, and they still don't give a damn who we are. And that's just the way I like it.
Right. Yeah, you found that perfect niche market, and then also something your expertise in, because I thought also it was really good pitch in that you're also helping these businesses expand. That's a really big part of it.
For sure. If they learn how to run a better business, they're going to buy more equipment. And
Right.
it just goes hand in hand because the revenue gen for our customers comes from the running of equipment, whether it's a tow truck towing cars or a big rig hauling lettuce from New York to LA or a landscaper with lawnmowers in the back. I mean, that's they make more money by buying more equipment. And the biggest problem they all have is that they are a great tow truck driver who gets sick and tired of their boss and they go into the towing business for themselves and they don't know how to run a tow business. And oddly enough, we want to help them run a better business. And then the return for that benefit is that they finance equipment with us.
Right. So you give first, and then if at some point they're obviously going to need to work with you guys because you're providing the big bank.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so. But let me tell you, that's not how I understood business to begin with. I was a taker for most of my career. I never understood the ability to give, and that if we can help them run a better business, that it helps our business. I never understood that. I was always in it for just take the deal down. I was like that with employees as well, man. Right? How do I wring ROI out of every employee that we have? And I changed a few years ago, and I made the decision to be a world-class leader. And part of that journey was understanding that mindset shift, which is you do have to give, and you have to give a shit and care. And if you are genuine about that, then the revenue will follow. And that's exactly what's happened.
That is awesome. And it's been a grind too, because you guys have been in business since 1995. So you've seen the financial crisis, when I'm sure things were tough at those times. I'm sure.
Dude, it was horrible. I started coming 95 with absolutely no money.
Wow.
6 months later, car got repossessed. I mean, the whole 9 yards. I was down to my last $40 on a credit card. So,
wow.
And then in 01, 02 was a very nasty time, and in 08, 09 was a very nasty time. I've been through 3 very tough economic cycles. There's going to be a 4th coming here pretty soon. People need to be aware of that, dude. We've been in roughly 10 years of economic bliss, and that means if somebody was graduating college at 21, they're now 31 years old. They're deep in their career. They're on their journey. They're fixing their mindset. They're working on their mindset, but they've never seen an economic downturn. They think this is what the economy is, and I'm here to say this is a blissful economy. If you're struggling right now, you're going to get your ass handed to you in this next downturn.
Right. Yeah, because businesses are just flourishing.
Dude,
I mean, capital is cheap, and there's unbelievable growth.
Think about it. Homes are selling at above asking price in a couple days.
Yes.
There's a construction site
Yes.
on almost every corner. Housing is outrageous. We're going to sell over 20 million cars this year.
Wow.
You're right. Cost of money is still cheap, even though rates are creeping up. But money is still dirt cheap. A 30-year mortgage is 5.5,
Right.
4.5 rather. Those are normal numbers, right? But this economic bliss can't continue, and people need to prepare for it. That's why I wrote the damn book.
Yeah, so getting into the book, which I love. I love the title because it's so true. You need more money. People say money can't buy happiness.
It's total bullshit.
I think that's not true. I mean,
It's total
there's
bullshit.
a certain level where it's like, yeah, maybe if you're, Zuckerberg and what's another billion for, Bezos, but obviously, as you know, he's got big dreams too. He's got, his rocket company and, or Elon, they just find new things to do with it. It's not.
Dude, those guys are literally 1 in 100 million people.
Right.
So for us to even entertain the idea
Right.
that we should have a view of the world that those guys do when it comes to money, it's totally incorrect. Most people are struggling. They're grinding just the way I did. They're starting from nothing. Their parents aren't giving them a silver spoon.
Right.
And therefore, we have to figure out our own journey. And part of that journey is to develop some net worth. And it's not net worth in my world. It's not to buy Lambos and jets and mansions. It's literally to protect my wife, my 3 boys, my extended family, my wife's extended family. I mean, all of those are my employees, my vendors, my clients. Everyone is touched by the success that we have in this office. And the problem is most people don't dig in deep enough and realize that they do have the ability to impact hundreds and hundreds of people's lives if they get their life dialed in.
Because there's a lot of life coaches out there right now, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of
people,
phonies, man.
There's a lot of people that just, send you some sort of landing page to try to get you to sign up and then trying to bill your credit card or something for something. I'm like, what are you providing here?
Yeah. I think the one thing I have going for me is that I have. My story is very similar to so many people, right? Nobody was helping me. There was no mentor or no roadmap. I had to figure out this stuff on my own. And I think that through the book, I'm willing to tell a lot of those stories in a transparent way to help people realize that, shit, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Hell, I went to cooking school, for God's sakes. Nobody taught me about business.
Wow. So you went into cooking school and then you were working in this other business and then it came to you, you're like, I got to do something different. And then, at some point you were just like, I'm going to do this business. I'm going to do the business that I was working at with this fleet business.
Yeah, I went to cooking school because that's the only college I got into. Literally, I got turned down every other place. My old man never took me to a college. We never did a campus visit or any of that stuff. Right. So I applied to this one school. They get me in. I said, I guess I'll go there. And I quickly learned, though, that I didn't want to be a chef. That wasn't the career path for me. It didn't have enough freedom. What I mean by that is, I didn't want to work on Friday and Saturday nights and when my buddies were out having a good time. I wanted to be part of that. So that got me out of that space. But I didn't, I wasted a decade of my success just thinking that it had to be viciously hard and that you couldn't trust anybody and you shouldn't have a mentor. I just thought that was the road. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I was so wrong, man. You need help from other people, and there are great mentors out there. If you can tap into them and find them, they can cut a lot of your failures away.
Right. Yeah, they can get you to the fast track, I'd like to say. Right? It's like they help you understand where, things to avoid.
Dude, let me tell you something. The fast track exists by getting an amazing mentor a lot faster than it does by learning how to do ClickFunnels. Right.
Yes, that great point too, because everyone in this world wants to do ClickFunnels, or something. I'm a $1 million entrepreneur on Shopify. It's like, come on, man. I'll tell you that this guy was bankrupt the next year.
Yeah, I got a buddy who made $4 million a couple years ago selling handles, clip-on handles for Yeti cups. The Yeti tumblers.
Okay.
And and now he's busted broke again because China figured out that he was making a lot of money, and China went into the clip-on handle for Yetis. And guess what? Bye-bye business. So I'm into fundamentals, dude. I'm a blocking and tackling guy. I chop wood every day. I'm not interested in flash and all that stuff. Business to me is not about that. It's about building something for the long haul based on sound foundational principles. That's why I'm involved in the Business Finishing School, which is this event that we're putting on in September in Dallas, where we get back. No one's going to talk about social media marketing. No one's going to talk about ClickFunnels. We're going to talk about company culture, mission statement, core values, and really how do you build a legacy business, because so many people don't know how to do it.
And that's been actually on my heart too, because I'm having a little one on the way. I'm thinking, how can I build this into a legacy?
Cool. Dude, that's a great way to think.
And it's just a mindset too. You got to put yourself in that mindset, right? Because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you think you can do it all, and obviously maybe you can do it all, but then as you realize, the more you help and trust others, your business gets better, And so I think that's a good thing for any business owners to think of a legacy, right? Well, how does this become a legacy, not just end?
Yeah, I think there has to be enterprise value that's being built up over the long term, and that doesn't come from milking the company dry just to fuel your lifestyle because you're a so-called entrepreneur or an owner.
Right.
The business is a separate entity. It must be treated as such.
Great point. So using the business should continue to just make sure that you have all your capital possible. I think for me, the biggest thing is just trying to figure out a way to find something new that I'm doing and find someone better to do it.
Well, right? Listen, we have a new controller in my office, and we were talking about the history of the company. In 1996, the tax return for commercial fleet financing, the top line revenue was $46,000 for the entire year. For the entire year, the entire company, which I had to live on, there was no side hustle for me. I was all in, was $46,000.
And you made it work on that.
Of course, and that's the problem. Most people don't know what that number is. At that point in time, I was probably living on $8,000 a year.
Right.
And then, dude, I can remember getting married. I've been married 20 years, and I can remember giving myself a raise to $821 a week. And I was like, oh my God, can you believe it? This company can throw off $821 a week in a salary to me. My gosh, this is unbelievable.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, right?
Dude,
that was the point. That was probably the point where you're like, this is the dream.
It was an unbelievable moment for me, and I talk about it in the book too, Travis. I mean, I can remember when I had $10,000 saved up in what I call my reserve account. I remember calling my wife in and saying, "Can you believe it? We got 10 grand."
Yes.
And she was like, "Oh my gosh, we have 10,000! Holy mackerel!"
Right.
Dude, those are milestones, though, that everybody has to reach. And most people, to tell you the truth, they don't even know what those milestones are. And I try to talk about it a lot in the book, man. What are the milestones?
So my question for you then is, what would be the number one reason you would say people need more money?
Well, listen, I mean, you're going through this tragedy with your friend.
Yes.
My book is based on the story of my brother-in-law, my wife's only brother. We lost him 3 years ago. He died at 46. He had no health insurance, no life insurance, and $100 in the bank. He left a wife and 4 kids. I just buried my wife's best friend in St. Louis about 3 weeks ago. We paid for the funeral. The good news is with my best buddy, who's very sick, he'll die any day now. He does have money. He did a good job with it, but you want more money because you don't know what's coming around the corner. Your friend did not know leaving the golf tournament that was going to be his last days or minutes on Earth. And that happens all the time, buddy, not just in death, but it happens in regulation, it happens in competition, it happens in job changing or company buyouts. So we got to get our money right so that we are prepared for what we don't know is coming when it comes. That's why we need more money. I'm not in it to buy Lambos and stuff like that. I'm in it for the security of my freedom and the security of my family and my employees and my vendors and my clients. And dude, I've been blessed to have multiple examples in the last 3 or 4 years in which my money has made other people's lives much, much better. And dude, those are the best checks you can write.
Right. Yeah, I always try to explain to people, that's the most thrilling or joyful experience about money, is being able to do something for someone that was unexpected. Yeah,
and I don't know what kind of numbers you've been able to write, but when you stroke a check for a $10,000 funeral when they're not sure how they're going to pay for it, and
I can't imagine,
and to deliver their loved one in a respectful way, and you cover the nut, those are very, very, very powerful moments, and they're incredible teaching moments for your family and to your children, and that's why I do it. So you asked the question why we need more money. That's why I do it.
Because a lot of people, like you said, would go right to, I need a bigger house, Matt. I need a bigger Lambo.
Dude, I'm cool with all that too. I'm not saying that my version of it is right. I'm down with that. Listen, I'd have a Lambo too if I could fit in it. You know what I'm saying?
Me too, man. I'm 6'8", so I can't even fit in that.
Okay, so you're screwed. You like me, can't drive a Porsche. We don't fit in it. It don't work. So we're stuck with a Suburban. That's the way it plays out, man.
A bigger car, the bigger the better. No, but then also I have a question for you, because they say that about 30-40% of America would have a hard time pulling out an extra $1,000.
Sure.
If they had an emergency, they say around 30% or so of America would have a hard time finding an extra $1,000 to pay for it. So what would you say is a great first step for someone to start saving that first $1,000?
Look, I am going to support Dave Ramsey in his Total Money Makeover and stuff like that. For someone who's really, really uneducated or doesn't understand money, the best possible way you could go about it is maybe digging into some Dave Ramsey stuff. The problem with Dave Ramsey stuff is that it's old, it's outdated. So he talks about this $1,000, whatever he calls it, the baby fund or whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. But those are good things if you don't know where to start. But the next evolution of that is, I think, my book and the roadmap of it, where I really begin to try to lay out what the end goals should be to have some financial security. And, those numbers start at 50 grand. So I argue in the book that a person is broke unless they have $50,000 liquid cash in the bank. Here's the beautiful part about it. Who tells you that? Who is telling you what that? Not many people are telling you what that number is supposed to be. And in my world, I believe when you should consider yourself broke until you have $50,000 liquid cash saved up in your reserve account. And until that happens, you don't have to look at yourself being broke as a bad thing. I never did. I always knew I wasn't going to be broke. I'm just broke now, but I ain't going to stay broke. I mean, I'm on the journey, man. I'm not. That's part of it when you start from nothing. And then from broke, you move into what I call accumulation mode. That's where you actually start to stack and rack cash by earning more, keeping your lifestyle the same, and stacking and racking that cash. And I argue in the book that stack and rack should be 40% of your gross income. 40%. It freaks people out. They think it's crazy. I did an interview with Market Watch, and when they published the article, I got flambéed by people in the comments section saying what an idiot I am. How could people say 40%? And all it did was give me fuel to keep saying it, because the number's 40%. Why is that? Because most people don't save a dime in their 20s. They hardly save anything in their 30s. And so guess what? They start to have the oh shit moment in their 40s. And the only way you start to make up the gap is start saving a hell of a lot more. You might be able to save 20% in your 20s because compound interest can kick in and you can do well that way. But most people don't put anything aside in their 20s or their 30s. And in their 40s, they got to make up the gap. And you only make up the gap by earning more and saving a shitload of it.
Right. So then those that are out there would be saying, oh, well, what about investing? What about, stocks, crypto, peer lending, the venture capital, what about those options?
Sure. I mean, in the book I talk about it. I don't think anyone should invest a nickel in anything until they have $100,000 liquid cash. Yeah, nothing, zero. No, not a nickel should be invested in anything until you have $100,000. Now, the only caveat I would say, and this is not in the book, the only caveat I would say to that is if your employer is matching you dollar for dollar in a 401k, you should be taking advantage of that because that's free money.
Got you.
But outside of that, man, you got to be paying down the student loan debt, get them out. You got to pay the credit card off, and you got to be stacking and racking cash. Because when you get 100 G's, deals start to open up for you. It's exactly the way it played out for me. The deals that I'm in outside of my businesses all required an initial investment of $100,000 because the players won't let you in for 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand. It's too much of an aggravation for them. In fact, if you can get into a deal for 10 grand, you should probably not be in that deal.
Right.
It's an unsophisticated deal. The sophisticated deals start at $100,000 investment for investors. That's just the way it plays out.
Yeah.
No, because
totally
if it's
makes sense.
Yeah,
totally
if it's a multi-million-dollar deal, they don't want
10 grand. They don't want 1,000 guys at 10 grand each.
Dude, those are the guys that are going to call and say, "Man, can you get me my money back? I mean, I'm a little tight this month. You know what I mean? I'm a little short. My wife wants to go to Disney, and I need." The real investors don't take those phone calls.
Right. So that's a really good point, guys. Folks that are listening, you need 50 G's in your bank, otherwise you're broke.
It's not that hard, my friend. It's not that hard.
Because, to be honest with you, my first reaction has been always to go to the market. To be transparent with you, I have a decent portfolio, retirement accounts, but also a cash account. So I consider that my bank, but it can go up and down, as we know.
Yeah, so the rub on that, though, my friend, is that it's
bad.
But it's almost impossible to pick the top or the bottom. So
Absolutely.
If you want that to be your strategy, that is an ultimate long-term strategy. It works. Good. I support you 1,000%. But you should still be stacking and racking liquidity because you need liquidity to get into those few deals that happen to everybody. I was just having breakfast with a guy who's 80 years old. He's made a shitload of money in the convention and group travel business. And I said, tell me, in your memory banks, tell me when you made the most money. And he said, there have been 4 deals in my life where I made the most money. And here's what I'm getting at. Everybody can remember those 1, 2, 3, 4 times where you had the chance of a lifetime. You will not get 50 chances of a lifetime to get rich. You will get 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, maybe. Right. And you need the capital to be able to pounce. And that capital starts, in my mind, my argument in the book is it starts at 100 G's.
I'm going to tell you a story, too. My dad, who had opportunity to work with a huge packing house out there in Texas, it's his current customer. But back in the day, he had a chance to invest. And he didn't have the 100 G's like you're talking about, right? Because he was all in stocks and things like that. So he missed the opportunity. Mm-hmm. This thing now is generating $2 million a month profit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So he missed out, folks, on what, $24 million a year at being a owner of that business, a small percentage of that, you're generating a lot of cash on probably less than 50 grand. But that was in the 80s, 70s.
That was a lot of money back then, for sure.
It was a lot of money, but still it was like he didn't have that model. So it's very interesting that you say that, because if he had the 50 G's, he could be doing all the investing he wants, because he'd be getting liquid cash kicked to him every month.
And I support, listen, everyone has to make their decision of what they choose to do with their money, but there will come a point in time where everybody has to decide one or two things, Travis. They have to decide, am I going to be the guy that drives by that corner lot for the rest of my life and I tell my kids and my grandkids, if I had bought that lot 30 years ago, can you imagine what it would be worth today? Well, who cares about that story? I want to be the guy that says, I bought that lot and then I sold it and I took that money and I leveraged it into a bigger deal, and then we got cash out of that deal and then we leveraged it into another deal, and guess what? Now we're set.
Right. I love this. I got more notes on this one than most of my guests. So now, man, we're about to enter your mindset with some B-realisms. Today, you can hop on a plane and go anywhere in the world. Where do you dream of traveling to?
My wife, it's not an interest of mine, but I will do it because I love my wife. She wants to go on a full-blown African safari. So if I could jump, my wife's name is Rocky. Rocky and I would be on that flight to Africa, and we'd be doing that because I know that that's a dream of hers. And we could do it now, no problem. It's just a matter of, what do I want to do with my three boys? Do I want to take them on that journey right now, or do I want it to just be me and the rocker? I don't know. Do I want to get eaten by a lion? I'm not so sure about that. The rocker's going to want to go see lions, man. She's going to want to get real close. She's going to want me to pay the extra to get real close.
She's like, hey, you hold the meat, man.
Right. Exactly right. Go a little closer.
I got to get a selfie with this thing.
I want a better picture. Go closer, Matt. Yeah. Squeeze, make it bleed. Make the meat bleed. Shake it so he sees it. It's exactly what she'd say. Yeah.
That is awesome. Can you share with us also, do you have a favorite a meal at the end of the day, at the end of a long day? Would you have a favorite meal to enjoy?
Dude, I eat too much. I mean, I just was with my doctor. I did the whole body scan thing last week.
Yep.
And everything checked out great. In fact,
great news. Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome. In fact, he said in the heart scan, they rank things on, I think he said the word was microns, and anything for a blockage in your heart, anything under 10 microns isn't even a worry. They don't even address it. Mm-hmm. And I had a small one. It was 4.6. So it showed up on the scan, but it was so much, it was half of 10. It was non-issue. He said, no big deal at all. He said the one problem is I'm carrying 50 pounds too much, and that I got to get rid of. So for me, dude, I eat more than I should. And I have a lot of favorite meals. But honestly, my favorite meal would probably be a well-done, char-broiled cheeseburger.
Ooh, nice.
That would be my final meal. I don't care about
I like that. I like your style.
Old school, man. Old school. Char-broiled, over the charcoal, well done, heavily melted American cheese.
I'm getting hungry right now.
Yeah, I might go get one tonight too, man.
Is there a skill that you're trying to master right now? Is there something you're really pushing yourself to try to overcome or master a new skill?
It's a great question. We're finishing the hiring of our executive management team here. I'm trying to hire a new VP of sales. It's proving much more difficult than I thought because I'm very selective. I think, in all frankness, I would like to be able to get really good at finding very high quality management. Because that's far more difficult than it is for me to hire a young hustler sales guy. Right. Because I still look at myself as a young hustler sales guy. I don't look at myself as the seasoned executive management team. And I think that's a positive to me because these guys I interview, they're all out to pasture, man. These guys have been in the corner office way too freaking long. Right. They haven't carried the bag in a long time. They think they know what it's like to cold call or go visit customers or sleep in hotels, but they haven't done it in a while. Right. And I hope I never lose that gritty edge, but at the same time, I do need to elevate my mindset to be able to see, how does a full-blown kick-ass executive management team operate a business so that the owner can focus on the business rather than in the business, using a Michael Gerber E-Myth term.
Yes, absolutely. And another one that I think about is the powerful females that are out there, like Sheryl Sandberg, what she did for Facebook.
Dude, it's unbelievable too. And by the way,
Unbelievable.
the incredibly powerful millennials out there, that mindset that people of my generation think towards millennials is all bullshit. I
Totally.
meet some unbelievably hustling,
Right.
very in tuned millennials who want their piece of the American pie. They just want a bigger pie. They want a mixture of life and
Yes.
culture and money.
Yeah.
So the idea,
it's a different viewpoint.
it's a more holistic viewpoint, but the idea that millennials are lazy or they don't want to work is far more of a representation of that person's company or organization than it is on the millennials. It means you didn't offer what they wanted, dude. It's not
Right.
their problem, it's your problem,
Right.
and you just don't know it.
It means your business is outdated, or they just don't want to work for you, or you're not inspiring them enough.
Exactly
and also,
right.
you're not giving them kind of work that they need.
Dude, it's exactly right. It means you haven't evolved into a great leader. That's my opinion of it. But the argument that millennials are lazy and don't want to work is ridiculous. Nothing is further from the truth.
I agree, and I see it in my business too. I think that you have to embrace change or die. Basically, that's how I look at it. Especially running like in a social media business. Things are always changing. Since 2009, when I started this business, things have changed every day.
But dude,
tomorrow it's gonna be something different.
Look, what I was on Facebook last night. I was looking at a post that Gary Vaynerchuk put up. And Gary Vaynerchuk's post was up for 9 hours, and it only had like 300 likes on it. And I was saying to myself, I keep hearing that Facebook is becoming less important. But
Right.
if Vaynerchuk on a 9-hour post only has 300 likes on his Facebook page, maybe it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe the importance of
Changing.
Facebook is really dwindling. What is your opinion? I mean, you're in that space.
I
What's
think
the
Instagram
deal?
is the biggest right now, but it's obviously that's owned by Facebook. I definitely think Instagram. If you can learn one social media platform today, it would be Instagram. Because of the hashtags, because of the viral capabilities of it, because of the IGTV, which is the longer form video, the Instagram stories, which is that short form content, which is kind of like Snapchat. So I'm saying it's like all of like YouTube and Facebook and all these ones in one is Instagram.
So let me ask you a question on that. Do you think the swipe ups, because we just got to 10,000, Billy?
Oh, that's awesome.
We just got
Yeah.
to 10,000. So is the swipe up? Do a lot of people use that swipe up to do you think that's
Sell different products and stuff like that.
You think it's an important strategy to be able to?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think it's in the mix of everything. I think some people that do it, if you're constantly, if that's the only objective, you can kind of see through that. Yeah, it works if you're Kylie Jenner or one of these people that have millions of followers and you can just do whatever. But for the anyone else, you really have to basically do a mix of content. From stuff you're talking about, you personal. I love your stuff because you bring it. You bring in the real talk. As well as just being transparent with people. I liked when you show your family vacations. You do lots of different stuff. So I think the key thing is a mix of content, most importantly, and then dropping those in there. Because if you can get more people to the book download page, to send a review on Amazon reviews, it's so important now. So just all those little mix of things. Now Instagram, like I said, it's its own beast. And still, the crazy thing is, as a business, we get. Our number one request is Facebook still. As far as like proposals and what people really still want to conquer and what people still want to grow. It's a lot of different businesses that were kind of late to the game,
Yeah.
So it's like now finally the doctors are on board. Finally the lawyers are on board. Finally the real estate agents and real estate brokers and everyone's on board. And so it's a little bit different businesses. Where obviously the restaurants and some of these other brands that were on Facebook have instantly moved to to Instagram.
Got it.
And they've been on there for a while. So, and I still think LinkedIn for a business owner. I think if you were to choose two, it would be Instagram and LinkedIn. I think those are the two powerful. And then I still love Twitter too. So I mean, I don't want to throw out too many things, but Twitter I think is a secret dark horse in that it is cleaning up the platform. They're cleaning up all the bots and all the weird stuff, and now we're going to be able to maybe see what the the Twitter targeting will do, because that's been their only caveat is you can't really target that great with their ads.
It's interesting, when I put up videos on Twitter or I put up graphics on Twitter, they do not perform as well as when I just put up a simple one-line piece of text on Twitter.
Right.
We might get 60,
Right.
70, 80 likes on a nice one-liner, and we
Right.
might get 12 likes on a cool graphic. It's
Totally.
just really interesting how the platforms are different, and therefore you got to produce different content for each of the platforms.
Yeah, I mean that's the big challenge for everyone is just trying to figure out what mixes with your audience, and then also just trying to mix it up so that each platform is a little bit different.
So
And you
when's
can have
the
some
next
stuff-
one? But Travis, when's the next one coming though? I mean, is there
I don't know,
is there
man.
room in the market, or are we all saturated out on that?
Well, it feels like at this point anything that becomes big enough is going to get copied. So the big challenge right now is it was Snapchat, right? And then Snapchat got to a certain point, and then Facebook said, okay, we're just going to copy you and roll it out. So that's the scary part when you have such a huge behemoth in the room like Facebook and even Google, in that they could just copy you. So that's the only downside. I still think it will happen maybe in more of niche markets. I still think social networking will happen in niche marketplaces and niche communities. But I think it's going to be hard for someone to go and replicate what Facebook has done, and that they own Instagram and WhatsApp and all these companies, and anything that's big is they'll either try to buy it or I feel like they'll just copy it.
Yeah,
and that's a scary thing. If you can even hear other people talking about it. So I think the biggest thing is the interesting thing is that the platforms kind of all have their own little surges. Facebook has its own little thing. LinkedIn has its own little thing. You could say Instagram is the most viral right now, but maybe one of the other ones will come back, So it's just really interesting. They all kind of keep making little tweaks and iterations in their code and their app. So you just never know. But I would love to see something new. We've heard different ones come up over the years, but then none of them really stick. None of them really.
Yeah, I look at the early adopters who won, and you look at a Vaynerchuk who was pushing, wine library videos in 2006, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have to see it coming before the mainstream if you really want it, because the mainstream moves so fast to whatever it is that's new. There just isn't that 2 or 3 year window where you can get ahead. I mean, look at a Periscope, or what was the other one? The other one, the Periscope.
Vine?
No, there was the other one.
Meerkat.
Yeah, I mean, are those even around anymore?
Nope.
Wow.
Vine's not even around either.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, Cardone pounded Periscope and Meerkat. He beat them to death. He was like instantaneously he used those new platforms to dominate, and that's exactly what will happen on any new platform. So
yeah. I think the window is dominate the platform. If it turns out well, then great. If it doesn't, try to get them to go to your other platforms.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Try to leverage them to get to any other thing, because it is still a game of, hey, get your Twitter followers to know about your Instagram. Get your Instagram followers to go about your LinkedIn. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You have 32,000 followers on Twitter. Getting them to know more about your LinkedIn gets you more connections on LinkedIn. It brings you more deal flow.
That's why I was like, we put out that graphic, Billy, a long time ago, and we should think about it again. But we put out the graphic that said "You choose," and we put the logos of the other platforms, and we put it on all the platforms. I love that. You choose. It doesn't matter.
I think it's very smart, man. I think that's very smart because there's nothing wrong with the synergy. You're putting out different content on different platforms, and why not get more LinkedIn followers? It's only going to help you.
Yeah.
Last couple things here. Tonight for dinner, be real. If you could take anyone in the world out to dinner out there in Dallas, who would it be?
Dude, that's my wife, The Rocker. Are you kidding me?
The Rock? The Rock.
I have hit the lottery. Not that she's perfect. Believe me, she's tough as nails. But I hit the lottery that there is nobody that I like to hang with more than my wife.
Awesome.
We just get along like peas and carrots, and that doesn't mean it's like blissful all the time. We're just a pretty good yin and yang. There's nobody I'd rather travel with on the planet than my wife.
I think that's the true sign of a true marriage is being able to travel together. Because you see some couples on travel, they start biting each other's heads off.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that when we travel. We actually totally understand our groove and we know the experiences. But the issues are at home. I mean, the Rocker's tough, man. Like I came in the other night, I was like, hey, I got a meeting in the morning and I want to take your car. She's like, you're not taking my car. I said, why are you going to give me such a hard time, man? I just want to take, why not? She's like, I'm not driving your car. Right?
But it's fun. It keeps you guys have a little jive. You guys have a little routine.
The Rocker's tough, man.
The Rocker.
She's
so then also, do you have a favorite app or a tool that you like using on a daily basis? Something that gives you more value in your day, provides you some.
I tell you, we have a piece of software in our office called the Doc Thermo.
Doc Thermo.
Yeah, that basically gives me the snapshot of the dashboard of the results of the day, which then calculates the week.
Nice.
I like that. It's every day, all day. It's the first thing I go to is our Doc Thermo. I want to see how much business did we put out.
I love that.
So I don't I don't spend a lot of time on social, and I feel bad about it because I want to comment and I want to thank people for showing their endorsement or their love. But I find it to be so mind-numbing now that I just on my Instagram, I cleaned out, I have like 80, I follow 80 people now from like 7,000. I just literally cleaned them all out. It just clutters my mind. And it's so disappointing to me because I have to go through so much crap just to find a few people that, liked my stuff or that I care about following them. It's unfortunate. I think someone's got to figure this out. How do we like Twitter is a huge problem for me, right? I love posting on Twitter, but I have a very difficult time following people because my Twitter is so clogged and messy that I can't even go to it to get any inspiration because I just got to go through so much silliness and crap, so much bullshit.
Well, tip 2 with maybe your team is you could create Twitter lists of people you like, and then you could go to each one of those lists and you'd only see posts from them. So if you wanted to see only Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Oprah, all you would have is the feed of those 3 people. So that's a different way, but it is a little bit more cumbersome. But I agree. I mean, all the platforms, that's one of the biggest issues, and that's why Facebook, the organic reach has gone down so much, is because they've not let brands just take advantage of it, and now it's becoming more of like relevant content to you, because if they don't do that, then no one's going to be there anymore.
It's a big problem. I mean, Facebook particularly, because I do like to see a post from my fraternity brother that posts once every 6 months. But to see that, I've got to go through so much garbage that you end up just sort of, not doing it.
Yeah.
And so you miss out on the other people's life stories.
Absolutely. I have the same issue, and I run a social media business. Be like, you're not on social. I try to stay off the stuff, to be honest with you, because the same reasons.
But yet but in order to be impactful and help other people, you have to show that you care, and so you have to be there. Yep. It's a really weird place, I think, for social right now, because there are a lot of people that really, high evolved thinkers that want to help a lot of people, but they just can't bring themselves to go through 80% of clutter to get to 20% that you care about.
Right. And that's where hopefully AI or who knows what the future is going to hold. I always hope that it's going to get better, as I've seen it get better over time. Since I've been running my business now for 9 years, the platforms have gotten better. There's more things you can do as a business, for instance. But then a couple last things into you, my man, Matt.
Sure, buddy.
Tonight, or any night after a long day of work, do you have a favorite show or something to do at night you like to do, relax?
Yeah, man, I love these Alaska shows where these people like live out off the grid.
Yeah.
There's
cool.
one I love. It's called Less Than Zero. I love the guy. They're smoking their own salmon. And, I love that sort of stuff. I would never last a day in that environment. Like I wouldn't be. I don't even think I would. Like if it was like a paid trip for 2 days and I knew that there was the Ritz afterwards, that I would deal with it. But I love people that have the clarity to say this is how I'm going to live my life. So I those kinds of shows really intrigue me. There's one lady on that. Do you know the show I'm talking about? Not Less Than Zero.
I have seen it before.
Life Below Zero.
I have seen it before. I have seen this show before.
This one lady, she lives all by herself 9 months out of the year. She got bit by a bear. It bit her head, Billy. The bear clamped on her head, and she still lives in this place all by herself 9 months out of the year in a tundra.
Unbelievable.
Like 4 miles from Russia and like 900 miles from the nearest hospital,
Wow.
Those kind of shows intrigue me. The rest of it I find just absolute garbage. I watch zero news.
Yeah.
I get my news, actually, I love my Twitter news feed. I do like that. That sort of gets me what I need. But for the most part, dude, I watch really sort of extreme shows like that and very little. I probably literally watch 2, maybe 3 hours of television a week. And it's
Yeah.
always on DVR. I never
Just like, skip through the ads. Skip through the
I never
ads.
do commercials ever. But isn't that amazing though? I mean, they just seem like such a waste.
I that was my old business. Is I used to work for ABC Television for the Disney company, and from 2005 to 2009. And when I started seeing on demand and I started seeing Hulu and things like that penetrating, I knew things were going to change.
Yeah.
When you could fly through those commercials, it was going to be hard to justify someone spending, $500 or $1,000 in a local market on an Oprah spot. You could see the time, was then. And that was right around the financial crisis, so some of the top years for broadcast were 2008 and 2009. If you look at historic revenues, and I don't think they'll ever hit that again. Even though they have big digital businesses, they will never get the same money they were charging for those big, American Idol and these top shows at that one point. It was the prime time ever. I don't think we'll ever see it again. Yeah.
Wow.
That was, social media started hitting, and then Google ads and all these things started taking away from their money, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So last thing, can you give our listeners one last real talk thought, my man?
Listen, I always like to go back to this when I'm trying to help people. I remind people to stay out of what I call false positive, #false positive, where you trick your brain into thinking that you're doing better than you really are. It's when you say, I'm good, man. I'm good. No, I'm good. We're in good shape, whether you're talking about financial or even relationship wise. Dude, don't tease yourself with the words I'm good or living in what I call false positive. Remind yourself and be tough on yourself that financially the money has moved. Most people are not good. They think they're good, but they're way behind. And so just stay real on all of it. Look, you're going through it, I bet, with all due respect to your buddy. And I don't know, maybe you had a wonderful conversation with him before he passed suddenly. But, I was in California. I had 15 minutes with my best friend in the world, and it was absolutely incredible to have that level of transparency and honesty. And the answer is, why do we got to do it on a guy's freaking deathbed, man? Why can't we do more of that just every day?
Right. Well, folks, you've been hanging out with my man, Matt Manero, and Travis Too Tall and Huff. I want to thank you again for your time today, and keep being real.